Hey, Summerhill Cinema 700 here, doing a movie review on the movie Blu-ray review of the 1988, yes, 1988 film by William Lustig, produced by Larry Cohen, Maniac Cop. Now, I think I had mentioned when I got my Arrow Video Blu-ray update that I had never seen Maniac Cop before, so I'm just going to kind of go through the basic premise. There's not too much that needs to be talked about. It's basically this crazy cop who's killing people in New York City. That's it for this review. We'll see you next time. No, just kidding. But literally, the review could almost be that short because that's mainly what this movie is about. Is this crazy psycho cop killing people off in New York? Now, this movie stars Bruce Campbell. Also has Tom Atkins in it, who plays one of the police detectives. His performance in the movie is pretty good. It's enjoyable to watch. You know, I always like Tom Atkins in the horror movies that he's in. Halloween 3, The Fog, and whatnot. He's always a fun actor, in my opinion. Same with Bruce Campbell. I actually find Bruce Campbell a bit annoying in some movies, like a bit just over the top goofy. But in this one, he was. I liked his role. He basically plays this just a regular police officer, and at the start of the movie, we see him and his girlfriend, and they're not getting along very well. And it ends up that she follows him one night because she's just kind of suspicious or something about him, and she finds that he's sleeping with another woman in this hotel room. And then I believe shortly after that, the killings start. There might be a kill or something before that, but I think that it's after that the killings start, but don't quote me on that. And then basically this whole movie is just people are being killed, and the police are trying to figure out who's doing it. And then we find out that there's this guy, he's like an mafia person, and we get like flashbacks of him in prison and whatnot, but we basically find out that he's indeed the cop. I can't remember exactly what his name is. It might say here on the back. I'll take a look really quickly here, but I don't think it does. But back to the movie. So we basically find out that it's this mafia guy. Indeed, he was a regular cop, I believe, but he went bad. Now I'm just saying I believe because I was like 4 or 5 days ago or something that I watched this movie, so I don't remember everything. I was going to do the review of the film sooner, but I just didn't get a chance. So we're doing it now. But I'll just say, I didn't think this movie was great, but it definitely wasn't bad. It's a fun movie to watch. I like these New York films, but in my opinion, there are much better actiony kind of New York films out there. For example, like The Exterminator. But I guess you'd consider this, obviously, Maniac Cop is more horror. But the main reason I got this is because it's a New York City horror movie, and I thought, if I had a collection of New York City horror movies, this would probably be lower on the list, but it wouldn't be at the lowest. But there's other ones, New York horror movies that I much prefer, like Chud or Street Trash or even Q, the Winged Serpent. There's lots that I have up in there in my collection there of New York films, because like I've mentioned many times that I love New York City as a filming location, especially in horror. But as far as kills go in this film, there weren't a ton of memorable ones. The one kill that happens, like one of the first ones, is pretty cool, where this guy and his girlfriend get stopped at a traffic stop, and the Maniac Cop comes, brings him outside, just kind of goes like that with his finger, tells him to come out, and the girlfriend's kind of wondering like what the hell's going on, and then he turns around and he pulls out. He has this it's like a baton, but it's actually a sword inside the baton case. So he pulls it out and just does these two really hard slashes to his throat and throws him through the car. That was a really cool scene, and probably the most memorable kill in my opinion. Back to Tom Atkins. So he's like the main police detective in this case. He's trying to figure out who it is. In the film, he ends up dying. He gets thrown out a window by the Maniac Cop. And now going back to the Maniac Cop, like I was saying, there's this one scene where he's just kind of having a nightmare. We see what the Maniac Cop looks like, and he basically looks like a very bulky guy with a bit of a deformed face. And we see this flashback. He's having a nightmare or something, that he's in prison, and he's having a shower, and he gets all stabbed up and beaten by these guys in the prison shower. And basically, he just has this horrible nightmare. So we find out that he was this mafia guy. He was in jail. That's why his face looks quite scarred up, is because they slashed him up. It's really gross, actually, the scene in the shower. They're slashing his face up with a knife and slits his mouth, kind of like, it's really gross. But so that was kind of interesting. I liked how it was like, and actually I just realized something right now, that I'm kind of confused by, right? I was saying that he was an ex-police officer, but I'm also saying that he was in the mafia. So I can't remember. I'm kind of confused there because I just realized, wait a second, didn't I say he was an ex-cop? So I'm confused. He was either an ex-cop gone bad or he was in the mafia. I think he was an ex-cop turned bad or something, and then he was dealing with the mafia. But like I said, after I watch a movie, just a few days later, I kind of forget bits and pieces of it. But no, it was no means a bad film. It was definitely entertaining. Like I said, not on my top list for New York horror movies, but definitely if you're into New York horror movies, you definitely pick up Maniac Cop. And the Arrow Video Blu-ray here is a great way to do that, and we'll get to that in a minute here. But continuing with the film, I'll talk about some more kills. Like I said, there weren't a ton of memorable ones, so I can't remember, but a high percentage of the kills are done with the baton sword, which is really cool. Bruce Campbell ends up surviving in this film. I believe he's killed off in the second movie. And like I said, Tom Atkins gets killed off in this film, so he's not in the second movie. Now, there is Maniac Cop 2 and 3 after this, and I believe Blue Underground put both of those out on Blu-ray. But I think I basically covered Maniac Cop. We'll just talk a little bit about the end. It's kind of cool. He basically gets tossed into the ocean. He's driving this in this truck, and it's like big log comes down and skewers him, and then he goes flying into the water, and they kind of wait for him, and then we kind of just get this glimpse at the end of his hand just kind of coming out of the water. It's really cool. So we know he survived. It's like perfect cliffhanger for a second movie. So I'm sure when people saw this in theaters, they were like, okay, but they knew that a second movie was coming out. And I believe William Lustig started making Maniac Cop 2 really shortly after the first one here. So if you're not familiar with William Lustig, he did other films such as like Maniac, and what others did he do? He did one I think called Vigilante. There's a few different ones that he's done, but interesting director. So hopefully I covered that. Most of all, it's just a film about if I've kind of given you the basic idea if you haven't seen this film. It's a bad cop going around killing people, and the police are trying to figure out who it is. He's killing everyone, and it's kind of also about this guy in a bad relationship with his girlfriend because he's an asshole and he's cheating. So that's kind of, that's Maniac Cop. I don't know what else more there is to say. I've only watched this film once, so if I'd watched this 2 or 3 times, I'd probably be able to do a better review of the film. So apologies if I kind of was all over the place, but no, it was fun. So this is the Blu-ray from Arrow Video. This is a UK Blu-ray, but it's region free, so if you want to pick this up, it will play on any player. This is with the original artwork there. Sorry about that glare, which I really like that original artwork there, though. Looks awesome. Oh, the glare is horrible, but there's the spine. You have the right to remain silent forever. Now, if we pop it open, it's a single disc. It's just a Blu-ray, so you don't get a DVD for those of you who like the double combo packs. But I think if you're getting this, you're mostly getting it for the Blu-ray anyways. And you have this reversible artwork as well. This is the newly commissioned art. I prefer the original there. Now, I checked out a couple special features on here, and you don't get a ton. We get a 2K restoration of the film. We get our interview with Tom Atkins on Maniac Cop. Lady of the Night, Lawrence Landon remembers Maniac Cop. Scripting a new slasher supervillain, Larry Cohen, who produced the film. Reversible sleeve with original newly commissioned artwork. So you don't get a ton of special features there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about Maniac Cop. Now, Synapse also released this film, but I mentioned in a previous video that they took away almost all the grain, and people like a little bit of that grain. So this is kind of, if you want to get that one, it's probably going to be a cleaner picture, but this is going to be closer to the original. And it still looks great. I haven't seen this in movie on any other format, being the first time I saw it, but it looks great to me, so I highly recommend the Arrow Video version of Maniac Cop, obviously, because that's the one I have. But if you have the other one, then just let me know in the comments what you think about Maniac Cop. I think that's all there is to say. Do you like the movie? Did you not like it? If so, what did you like about it? What not? But kind of going on now. This has been a review of Maniac Cop 1988, movie-Blu-ray review from Arrow Video. Thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Take care.